Oh my goodness, wasn't that amazing? Una voce poco fa from The Barber of Seville by Rossini. And that was Kaitlyn McMonigle, who's here with us today. So happy that she could join us. It's a miracle that she's even in town and able to do this. Hello, Kaitlyn.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here joining us. You know what? It's so wonderful having you here. I'm just going to say cheers.
Cheers.
So everybody, if you have a glass of wine handy, go get one because we're going to have a nice interview with Kaitlyn. So cheers, everyone. Here we go. So, Kaitlyn, that was amazing. I mean, your singing is just so magnificent.
Thank you.
And so tell me a little bit about how you became involved with music, like what happened in your childhood?
Well, at a very young age, I was infatuated with musical theater. My dad used to take me to see live shows all the time. And so I got involved at my community theater, the Ocala Civic Theater. And I loved doing musicals, and my parents recognized that I had a particular gift for singing, and I just wanted to get better, you know, as good as I could.
Big, powerful voice.
I had a very big voice when I was a very small child.
And I remember I met you when you were about 12 or 13 years old. You came for an audition for Central Florida Lyric Opera because your parents were looking for a voice teacher and, you know, an opera program because you had an interest in opera as well. Tell me about that. How did your interest in opera develop at such a young age? I mean, 13 is young.
Yeah, I mean, I have to thank my father for somehow finding you, and you know, he was like, you know, kind of like when it comes to dance, you know, you want to start with a classical foundation before you branch off and do other things.
Sure.
You know, and with singing, it's, if I want to be the best singer, you know, whether I end up singing pop or country or rock or anything, having a foundation in classical technique is the best way to go.
Absolutely.
And I kind of just stayed with it. You know, I wasn't necessarily planning at 13 years old to be an opera singer, but as I delved into it, you know, with you, it just clicked. And I was like, oh, this feels better. Like, this is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I don't want to embarrass you, but as a young girl, you were particularly studious. I mean, we would have a lesson, you would come back the next week, everything memorized, everything perfect. We recorded your voice lessons, and you would just, I mean, amazing stuff. And while you were still in high school, you performed in Così fan tutte. You did Despina, which is a leading role. And then you were so amazing in that, I decided, you know what, we're going to make her Rosina in the Barber of Seville, which is the aria that we just heard her do. And then we did a production of Madama Butterfly, which earlier in today's show, I was talking with Kristen Patterson about. Kristen was Suzuki, but Kaitlyn was Kate Pinkerton in that production. And you also did Mabel in Pirates of Penzance with Central Florida Lyric Opera. Amazing things for a young teenager to do.
I didn't even know at the time how unusual that was. And then when I went off to college, I realized nobody has had this kind of experience. Like, you know, very few people my age at that point had done leading roles in operas.
And before you even graduated from high school, I remember that we went to Paris together. You participated in a master class with the great soprano Carole Bajac in the Conservatoire de Clichy. And then, I'll never forget it, oh my gosh, we were in the middle of the Quartier Latin, the Latin Quarter in Paris, and you did a guest spot in this famous jazz club, Il Bill Bouquet.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience. What did that feel like for you?
It was so exciting. I mean, one of the things is I really love jazz. I've always had a passion for it. And to be singing in this famous jazz club you know, singing opera, but still, it was like, it was all these things colliding all at once. And yeah, people were very enthusiastic about
Oh
my
my gosh,
performance.
that's an understatement. People were completely blown away. They gave her a standing ovation. And then, so you did, I think you did that
I
same
think I
aria,
sang
Una
that.
Voce
I
Poco
think
Fa.
I did.
And then also I think you did Bewitched,
Yeah.
Bothered
Right.
and Bewildered, right?
I got my jazz moment. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was very, very special. And all right, so, and then you were getting ready to graduate from
Well,
high school.
Yes.
And you participated in the Harold Schwartz Memorial Scholarship, right? And I think were the first place winner, right?
I was, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And then you went on to Florida State University where you got your bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
That is just outstanding. And then tell us about, so while you were at Florida State, you also did the Chautauqua Music Festival.
Right. That was the very first like major summer music program I ever did, and I studied with, you know, very esteemed coaches and teachers while I was there, and I had the opportunity to sing in a recital for the amazing American composer Ben Moore, who you know very well.
Right. You know, the interesting thing, it's such a small world, this professional opera world that we live in. What's interesting, so Ben Moore is a very famed composer, and you did some of his works at that Chautauqua Music Festival. A lot of people don't realize Ben Moore and I grew up together in a very small town in upstate New York, Clinton, New York. It was a huge family. So he was one of, I think, 6 or 7 kids. Also, my folks had 6 kids. So, but anyway, we were all musical together. Ben, I think, was a year ahead of me in school. But we sang at St. Mary's Church in the choir in Clinton. His mother, Joanna, was an amazing opera singer. And, you know, Clinton, New York is known for Hamilton College, which is, you know, a private college in upstate New York. And they have a great music program. So I ended up going to New York, but Ben actually studied at Hamilton College. He studied composition, went on to New York City, and became a well-known composer. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, so you did that recital. Also, I think you did a role in the Dialogue of the Carmelites.
Yes,
there.
I played Sister Mathilde in Dialogue of the Carmelites.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, all right, then you went to graduate school.
Right, so a couple years after that, I go off to Indiana University for my master's.
One of the best university music conservatories in the country.
Mm-hmm. And while there, I studied with the great American soprano, Carol Van Ness. She was my teacher.
I saw her in the 90s, I think, at the Metropolitan Opera as the Countess in The Marriage of Figaro. What a beautiful voice, and what an experience it must have been to study with her.
It was. And she was a wonderful mentor to me while I was there. You know, fabulous teacher. I mean, she really understands the human voice. You know, I mean, she's...
Right. Well, she's from the real school.
Yeah.
So while you were at Indiana, you did a couple of roles, right? You were in an opera by Handel.
Yes, I was in Alcina, and I played Bradamante, which is somewhat of a trouser role, and I also was...
A trouser role, for those of you who don't know, a trouser role is when you're a woman and you're actually playing the part of a young boy. So it was before the whole trans movement and everything that we hear about today. It was when they decided to not have castrati anymore, and they would put women in the roles that the castrati used to play, but they were mezzo-sopranos playing the roles of younger boys, usually in their teens. And what else did you do there?
Well, another trouser role, Prince Orlovsky in
Right.
Die Fledermaus. That was a lot of fun. And I also was Suzuki in Madame Butterfly.
Madama Butterfly, probably my favorite opera in the world, Puccini's great masterpiece. And Suzuki is, next to Butterfly, I mean, she is the leading role in that opera. She's the servant to Butterfly herself. And then, so, all right, you graduated with your master's degree in opera performance, and then you started doing the audition circuit.
Yeah.
And so tell me, what is it that, what was the first big professional break that you had?
Well, I guess it started with some of these summer programs. The first one were professional thing where I was getting paid on a professional level with, you know, actually some pretty big names in the industry was when I was at Wolf Trap for 2 summers in a row. And I had a couple small roles there. I was in the studio program, which is for the younger up-and-coming, you know, who they consider to be the
Up-and-coming stars, right? The next
future
generation,
yeah.
right.
And I did 2 summers at Santa Fe Opera.
Wow, and like I told you last week, Santa Fe Opera is the premier company. It is the stepping stone to the Metropolitan Opera, that's what they say. That's where Devin is going next year. So Devin Eatman.
That probably, those 2 summers at Santa Fe are probably the most pivotal things I've done so far.
And I think that coincidentally, you were also in Miami with Mary Angel Sestari,
Yes.
who was on our episode last week.
Right, we both ended up at the Miami Music Festival. I didn't know she was going to be there. She didn't know that I was going to be there. And we got into the same exact program, and we were in some shows together. I was in Dead Man Walking, the opera, where I played the lead role, Sister Helen Prejean. And that was, I mean, probably the most important role for me as developing my skills as a leading lady, so to speak.
And an actress,
yeah,
right?
as an actress, like, I mean, I was in every single scene. I mean, it was basically, it's kind of more like a play than an opera.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, you know, it's me and, you know, the prisoner, Desrochers, and it's just, it's so intense. And it's a very difficult sing.
Wow.
So, and they actually, they offered me, they were like, okay, so there were 3 different directors there doing 3 different operas. They were also doing Marriage to Figaro and something else. Each of them wanted me, and the director of the program, he was like, so which role would you rather have? And I was like, I could have done Carabino, which would have been a good role to do, but I really wanted to stretch myself.
Sure.
You know, I was like, you know, Sister Helen is one of those roles that it's a rare opportunity to have this role at such a young age.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm really glad I did that.
And when you were at Santa Fe, you did the Mother in Madama Butterfly, but also you did the Mother in Eugene Onegin as well, right? Which is an opera by Tchaikovsky in Russian.
Yeah, it
So-
was my first time singing in Russian.
Unbelievable. And so then from that, you started getting some professional engagements. And I remember that you did Suzuki in Shreveport.
Yes. Yes, well, I did a residency at Shreveport Opera last season, 2018, 2019. And yes, I played Suzuki and Madame Butterfly while I was out there, as well as Anita in West Side Story.
Wow. Is Anita the one that goes, I feel pretty?
No,
that's somebody else?
She said, I want to be in America. Yeah.
I want to be in America.
Exactly.
Wow. So, and that is awesome. And then all of a sudden, coronavirus hits.
Yeah.
And everything comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
And lucky for us, you're back here in Central Florida, staying with your parents until the pandemic is done. There's no theaters open right now. The Metropolitan Opera has already announced, yep, they canceled their season. I think they're canceled through December 31st. And then they're waiting to see what happens in January. So there's nowhere to go, nothing to do right now.
Not as far as live theater, no.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to do remote things. That's what we do as musicians. We keep going, right?
Of course.
And I'm sure that as soon as things open up after this pandemic, that there's going to be lots and lots of opportunities for you. That's for sure. Tell me about your immediate plans, because I heard from the grapevine that you are wanting to sort of reach out and expand into different genres, country music, jazz, and Christian music. And what are your immediate plans?
Right, so I've been having to really rethink, you know, my path as a musician, you know, through all of this. And basically singing is my life, and I can't imagine doing anything else, really. I mean, I have to sing. So I am fortunate that my boyfriend, he lives in Nashville. He has a good job up there that thankfully this whole pandemic hasn't really affected him in that way.
And he's also a musician
He
too,
is.
right? You're not a singer though.
He's not a singer.
That's good, because singers getting together with other singers sometimes is not such a good thing.
Yeah, I've been there. Not again. But no, he's a really wonderful guy, and he has a few connections in the music industry, but really I want to move to Nashville and be with him and start branching out and maybe do studio work, like in recording studios.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so many opportunities there. Even though the live music scene is still not where it was before, in Nashville, it's going to open up there a lot sooner than it will anywhere else.
Well, yes, and because you're such a great musician and you have great musicianship skills, you read music so well, you can do all kinds of things.
I mean, I could sing rock, jazz, country.
All different styles.
You know, all of it. And I love singing that stuff. Like, I'm not one of those opera singers who's like, I'm only going to sing opera and that's it. You know, I grew up listening to every kind of music out there. You know, like I love music. It's not just about opera. It's about being a musician, you know, being a singer. And as long as I can stay connected in that way, I'll be happy. And Nashville Opera is a great opera house. You know, I'm sure, you know, when things pick up, that would be another thing to...
I think this is a good move because you'll have the opportunity to make a living singing and you know, doing all kinds of styles and different things like that in Nashville. So I think that's a really good move, and I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you'll be able to come back and sing with us here in Central Florida. You know that I love you like you're my niece. And
I love you like you're my uncle.
Well, so I think we're going to bring the show to a close. And I'd like to have one more song with Kaitlyn. What do you think about maybe doing a duet?
Sure.
So there's a duet that Kaitlyn and I sang a couple of years ago for the Three Tenors concert at the Sharon. It's from Mozart opera Don Giovanni, and I love playing Don Giovanni, Don Juan. You know, he's like the debonair cute guy, even though I'm not a debonair cute guy. In my fantasies, I kind of want to be. But anyway, he comes on sort of a little bit to this young girl, Zerbinetta, right? And she has already been pledged to marry Mazzetto, but Don Juan kind of woos her away a little bit and says, there is my castle in the distance, and I'm going to steal you away there, and I'm going to ask for your hand in marriage. And he says, andiamo, come on, let's go. And at first she's like, no, 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 I can't because I'm engaged to Mazzetto. At the end, she says, Andiam! Andiam in Italian is like, let's go. And she decides, okay, let's go.
Throw caution to the
And
wind.
there it is. And so they go off into, into Never Never Land together. But I hope you guys enjoy this. This is one of the most famous melodies that Mozart ever wrote. You're going to recognize it right away, and we're going to sing it for you right now. God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Quel casinetto è mio, soli saremo, e la gioiello mio, ci sposeremo. Là ci daremo la mano, là mi dirai di sì, vedi non è lontano, partiamo meglio da qui.
Vorrei e non vorrei, mi tremano quel cuore, felice aver Thank you so much for joining us for today's show. I want to take this opportunity to invite you to go to centralfloridalyricopera.org. Make a donation to keep beautiful music flowing. If you click on the donate button, the PayPal donate button, your donations will go to help support the artists that you've heard today on the show, as well as to help support our company and to keep us rolling during this COVID-19 pandemic, and to enable us to continue to bring beautiful music to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and good night.